ice. Lace up your skates, fasten your chin strap, hit the ice, drop the puck. The Johnstown Tomahawks present Hockey Central. Now here's your host, Troy Roberts.
Welcome to Hockey Central. What an exciting week for the Johnstown Tomahawks. We got another great show in store for you today. The Tomahawks have cut the lead to 4 points against Aston. They're only 4 points behind. This weekend, they took care of business against Northeast by gaining 6 points, 3 wins, and what a crazy week, though, it was. They had that crazy Thursday night game. Then they had the 3-game set, which are not very common. The Tomahawks also added a new player, Evan Somoza, who's actually going to be our guest today. So what a unique story there. Evan travels with the Northeast Generals to Johnstown on Wednesday, and on Thursday night he suits up in a Johnstown Tomahawk uniform and plays against his former team for 3 games. And he actually chipped in 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points in 3 games. He is our guest today. We're definitely going to talk to Coach Letizia about the weekend. They just went out, they played hockey. Northeast is not having a great year, but they took care of business, got the 6 points, and this weekend coming up, they have a chance to pull into a tie points-wise. The Tomahawks still have a game in hand over Aston also. So next week at this time, I could be talking about your first-place Johnstown Tomahawks. Some other great news for the Tomahawks, and I'm going to talk to Coach about this. The NAHL has officially announced the coaches for the top prospect game, and our very own Coach Letizia has been named as one of the coaches of that game. So we're going to talk to Coach Letizia, let him give you a little breakdown of what the top prospect game is for those that may not know what it is. But we've got a great show in store for you today. Sit back, relax, and I'm going to bring Coach in, and we're going to talk a little bit of hockey. It is always my pleasure to welcome in Coach Letizia to the show. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing very well, Troy. How are you?
Well, I was telling you, just saying I'm not going to get into it on the show, but it's just 2017, week after week, something going on in my life that makes it exciting. That's all I'm going to say today. But, we're getting by and doing what we do, and, day by day we take it. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today on the show. We're going to, of course, first I have to start off. There was this game called the Super Bowl on Sunday. I know you're from Chicago. I'm from Green Bay. Really for us, our loyalties are not with anybody in that game. But did you get a chance to watch the Super Bowl? People are saying, I disagree. I don't think it's the greatest Super Bowl of all time. It was a good comeback, a great comeback. I don't think it was the greatest game of all time, though. I can name on 2 hands probably more games that I thought were more exciting. But did you get a chance to catch the game, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched the entire game. It was definitely exciting. I mean, you talk about 3 quarters where it looked like, Atlanta couldn't do much wrong, and New England really couldn't do much right. And then, but you can never count out Brady. I mean, the guy is an absolute stud. He's probably just cemented himself as the greatest quarterback of all time. It's hard to argue that's for sure. What he's able to do and really, the way he led that team back was pretty impressive. I mean, he gets a lot of hatred because of his success, I think, and obviously the animosity that seems to surround the Patriots a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's a winner, and it was pretty special to watch. I agree. I mean, there's been a lot of good Super Bowls out there. That probably was the best comeback of all time. I mean, with the game was, to make that big of a comeback and win in overtime, and the way they did it, where all of a sudden they just made it look easy in the fourth quarter and overtime, was pretty impressive. So hats off to Belichick, Brady, and the whole Patriots team.
Yeah, and some of the other things that I do on outside of the coaches show, definitely have talked about this week. And whether you dislike Tom Brady or like him, you have to give him his due props. I mean, the guy goes out and just plays. I mean, I watched that game like you did, Coach, and he was frustrated in that first half. They were moving the ball, couldn't score points, and then it was just like, bam, here they come. So I want to relate it back to you as a coach, personally. I mean, I was a soccer coach. I've been in these type games where you're coaching and nothing seems to be going right, but you see the little spark there. Like, it's not a total loss, but nothing seems to go your way. And in this game, a pick six and some drop balls in the first half, things were going. They weren't a total disaster, but it felt like it because they couldn't get points. Have you been in these games, Coach, where you're getting your butt whooped, but you know as a coach, like, look, it's really not that bad. I mean, the score looks bad, but really we just need a break here or there. Have you been in any of those games? Give me an example if you have one.
Sometimes you have them. Where you got to deal with trust in your players. If you feel good about your players and you have the confidence, and the players have confidence, and you have a mentality of being able to win, and it's a confidence level as well. If it's something you've been able to do before or something you believe in, you can do it. I mean, trust me, it's not easy. I'm sure New England was scratching their heads a few times of what was going on, but they were able to stay the course. They obviously believed in what they could do. They've been there before. They're used to that spotlight. Obviously, the tension of the game and the magnitude of the game of being a Super Bowl. So I think they believed in what they were able to do. They believed in their past performance, their history, and they obviously believed in themselves. And they had the pieces. I'll say it again. When you had a quarterback that good, anything's possible. So, I mean, you like to believe that you have an opportunity in every game. I mean, trust me, that's not easy what they just did. But I think it just goes back to their culture. They have a championship culture. They have the championship people in place, and believe in what they can do, and they did it.
Yeah, Coach. Like I said, I was not a hockey coach, not a football coach, soccer coach, and after that comeback, it made me kind of relive my old high school coaching days. And I remember a team that we had a good team, not a great team, but one of the better teams that we had over the course of time. And I remember we went to a team that had not beaten us in, I believe, like 14 years, and we had to drive like an hour and a half to the game. Our bus was late to start, and I'm not making excuses, but it was one of those where the team got off flat, and we were pretty much dominating the game. I mean, literally out-shooting them, both possessing them, but we found ourselves down at halftime 2-0, and in soccer and hockey too, being down 2-0, you can come back, but you gotta chip back at it. And wouldn't you know, right at the beginning of the second half, they came out and made it 3-0. And I still remember this game, though. Like you said, you just believe in your guys, keep doing what you're doing. We came back to win that game 4-3. I remember it. It sticks in my mind. I relive it as a coach. And it's hard because as a coach, you're like, man, we're doing some good things. You just can't score. But it was the greatest comeback of all time. Moving on to hockey, Coach, you got some great news. The NHL announced their top prospect coaches, and our very own Coach Letizia is going to be coaching in top prospect. Share a little bit about that, Coach. I bet you're pretty proud to be able to have that honor.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm really excited about. I was honored to be able to do so. Be able to be on the bench for our division is going to be special. I think it speaks to the season we've had so far and the play of our guys. It's one of those things that's somewhat based upon where you're at in the standings. They freeze the rosters, or freeze the standings, at a certain point in the season. They froze them on Sunday. And it goes based upon winning percentage, because obviously, like in our standings, the games played aren't even. But, so Coach Joe Coombs from Aston and myself will coach the East Division. So something I'm excited about, being able to be there, share with our guys who are going to be there. I mean, we go as coaches anyway, and do the best we can to obviously promote our guys and communicate with the colleges and the pro teams that are there. Every NCAA school is there. NHL teams are there. It's really a premier event to showcase our players, but this year being able to be on the bench right there in the thick of it with the guys is pretty cool. So we actually knew a few weeks ago prior to the deadline, based upon where we were in the standings, that we couldn't be caught for that second spot, but is obviously something we want to continue to do, and we were able to close the gap this past weekend on Aston a little bit with the points. So credit to our guys, obviously, for the work they've put in so far to this point, to not only allow me to be one of the coaches for the team, but at the same time, now we'll have 4 guys representing our division, and hopefully a few guys representing the NHL Selects team at the Prospects event. So hopefully it turns out to a lot of good things and a lot of opportunity for our guys.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple things there, Coach. Top prospect game, I know what it is, because, again, I'm doing the show with you following the Johnstown Tomahawks. Many of our listeners who are faithful fans probably know what this game is, but for those fans listening in that maybe are not familiar with the NAHL and this top prospects game, I know we don't have all day to talk about it, but give a quick overview of what the game is and what it means. It's a great showcase for the top players, but I'm sure there's a little more to it than that. Just give a quick overview of this top prospects game.
Yeah, so it's a mid-season event. Well, basically, I should say mid-season. End of February. It's held in Plymouth, Michigan, home of USA Hawkey. And basically, our league provides this event as a way to give guys an opportunity to be seen on a little bit of a different level. It's not really an all-star game, so to speak. Each division is represented, and the amount of guys that each team gets to have represent their team for that division is based upon their standings. So Aston will get 5, we'll get 4. New Jersey and Wilkes-Barre will send 3, Northeast will send 2. Then because our division only has 5 teams, actually Topeka, who's the bottom team in the South Division, who actually has 7 teams, they'll send 2 guys, and then there'll be an at-large player that's chosen by the league, so that kind of rounds us out to 20. And there's it's 2 games. It's Monday, Tuesday. The USA National Development Team is also involved with the weekend, or the 2-game series, excuse me. So there'll be the 4 divisional teams, the USA team, and then there's an NAHL Selects team, which is a team chosen by the North American League, but mainly the NHL Central Scouting Bureau. So there's draft eligible players, there's possible free agents, things like that. They're chosen to kind of be a select team. So to be on the divisional team, you are not allowed to have a college commitment. But to be on the selects team, you can have a college commitment. So it's a little bit different. So anybody who's on that divisional team is somebody who doesn't have a commitment yet. And like I said, it brings that opportunity in a small event with big eyes on you to get that opportunity to show what you can do in a select group of players. It's a really unique event and a great opportunity for our guys. So, like I said, it was good for us to be able to send 4 guys for our division, and hopefully more for the selects team when they release the rosters here in a few days or a week or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm hoping next week on the show we can actually let the fans know who's going to be going to that. I know Evan joined us. I heard the beep. Evan will be with you in just a minute. Coach, yep. you talked about cutting into the points lead on Aston, and I'll tell you what, this weekend. We've got a guy that knows Northeast very well. We'll talk to him in a little bit. But a quick recap of the weekend, Coach. I know Northeast, they're struggling a little bit, but they go out, they play hard. But very important for you guys to get a number of points this weekend to really cut into the gap point-wise because you have the games in hand on Aston. But just a quick recap of this weekend, Coach.
Yeah, we had 3 games series with Northeast starting Thursday night. We had a task in hand of trying to get all 6 points, something we wanted to make sure we did, especially being on home ice. So Thursday night, we were fortunate. We opened it up pretty good on them. Seemed like a lot of the pucks we were shooting were going in the net. We had a lot of guys contribute, and we ended up picking up a big 9-1 win. And then, Friday night, I think they were trying to do some things to slow us down and take us off our game a little bit. A few things I didn't agree with necessarily, using their sticks a little bit, and, our guys held it together pretty well, and, they put us in the power play a bit. We were able to score a couple power play goals in the first period and kind of, give them the consequences, so to speak, for what they were doing. We ended up getting, I think it was 5-0 in that one. So, it was a good turnout. Then Saturday, they did more of the same. It was kind of ridiculous, a little out of hand. Their goalie, from Thursday night played a lot better Saturday. I think that kind of kept it from the league getting a little bit bigger than it was at that point. So it was a pretty tight game. We had a lot of power plays. Our power play was doing okay. We just, couldn't cash in enough to really extend the lead. But we were able to do it. Dalton scored that penalty shot goal in the second period while we were actually on the power play to give us that lead, a little bit bigger lead. And We held on. It ended up being 4-3. They scored a late goal, about 20 seconds left with their goalie pulled. But, a little bit of stuff I didn't agree with. Obviously, I think they were trying to do what they could to get us off of our games. They were had a little trouble playing the skill game with us, so they had to do some different things. Our guys, are willing to stand up for each other. They're willing to be together as a team. Be team tough if needed. I told them I'd rather be team tough, sticking up for each other, having each other's back, and playing the game the right way than being a guy that's trying to show his team how tough he is. So that was our way. Obviously, like I said, getting 6 points is what we wanted to do. We were able to do it, and now we got to turn the page and focus on Aspen. It's a big series on the road. We haven't been on the road since mid-December, so it's going to be a little different for us. But it's exciting to get back and play in a different barn, and hopefully we can carry our momentum into it. Yeah,
it's like you look at the schedule and go, "What's this? A road game? Got a road game now." After so many in the beginning, you guys were getting accustomed to being at home, but this is going to be a great weekend coming up, Coach. I mean, yeah, like I said, I think this team has something special going on. I think that, I look at all the guys that we brought on, and we got a great guest on today, but a big weekend definitely coming up, and it'll be interesting next week to see where the outcomes were and where you guys are in the standings at that point, and hopefully you come away with all the points and really take control of the division. So, Coach, there was a transaction made this week with the Johnstown Tomahawks. I was getting some personal knowledge from you before the show, and we have a great guest, Evan, on the show today. He was a member of Northeast, and now he's a member of the Johnstown Tomahawks. A trade went down, and I want you, because we always talk to our fans. I'm not sure if a lot of fans know how trades work in junior hockey, so before we bring Evan on, I just want you to explain how trades happen in the NAHL, and specifically then talk about the trade with Evan to bring Evan from Northeast to the Tomahawks.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the trades are very similar to normal trades. Obviously, where you're going to trade players for players, you're going to trade players for assets, whether it's draft picks or a tender or future considerations, however it may be. So, there's obviously teams have different needs, and there's an internal league trade wire as well, where you might be looking for a specific need on your team, or maybe there's a player that you're looking to move. There's a lot of different things that go on, but it's a pretty standard trade situation. Obviously, the players must have to report. Obviously, want to come to the team. That is a big part of it. But so like I said, it's normal trades. We have some roster deadlines here happening basically right now, but so we made a couple trades earlier this year that I think were obviously big parts of our team, with Logan Stork and Brandon Young, picking those two guys up right after Thanksgiving. I think they've been a huge addition to our hockey club, and we lost Sammy Slensky to the USHL back in January, so it actually freed a roster spot up. And in Evan's case, he's been someone that we've known since last year when he played with Fairbanks and won a championship. Someone we've seen obviously this year with Northeast, and someone we've kind of kept our eye on throughout the entire season. And I was a big fan of how he played the game. I thought he has a lot of juice to his game, a lot of speed, a lot of compete level. He has a great skill level as well. So a lot of elements that I like to have on our team. So I was interested in him a few weeks ago when we lost Sammy. Things just kind of didn't work out, and then it was just kind of a weird situation. And they came to town on Wednesday prior to our game on Thursday, and I talked to their coach a little bit, and he was willing to negotiate, and I pretty much just talked to him about it, and he and I agreed to the deal. Evan was already in town, which was kind of bizarre. One of the more unique trades we've made, but he basically as of Wednesday night became a member of our team, and we talked with him, got everything switched over, and Thursday he brought his equipment into our locker room and became a member of the Tomahawks, and he was a big help to our 3 wins over the weekend. I think he had 4 or 5 points or whatever it was, and then in 3 games. And he's going to be a big member of our hockey club going down the stretch into the playoffs. So we were extremely excited to be able to add a player like his. Like I said, not only his skill level, his compete level, but also his championship experience is something that's can be very valuable to our team. And we're excited, very excited.
Yeah, and Coach, it was 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists. So welcome to the show, Evan. How are you today?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
So Evan, you're on Northeast. You traveled to Johnstown. Now all of a sudden, you're traded to Johnstown. You put up 4 points, and now the Tuesday after, you're on the coach's show. I mean, how does that all happen? I mean, it's got to be a crazy ride for you. Did you think something was going down with the trade, or did it catch you by surprise on Wednesday, and then Thursday you're wearing a different jersey on Thursday night?
No, I had no idea it was coming. I was just really shocked. I mean,
so how do you feel going from Northeast? And I know Northeast this year struggling a bit, trying to put together a franchise and one to compete in the NAHL in this division. That's tough. You got some tough teams in this division to try and catch up to. You know, but how does it feel going from that Northeast team? I know you're on a championship team, so it's kind of a little bit of a whirlwind for you. A championship level to a rebuilding type franchise, now to a team, and I had said it, I think it's a special team. I think this is a team that's going to do some damage. So a team with championship aspirations, kind of full circle for you here in a matter of a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited. The team all gets along. Everything clicks here. For sure, we can make a championship run, I feel like, and I mean, I'm just excited to be here.
So you had that experience with Fairbanks and a championship team, and then you go to Northeast. And can you give me a little, I guess, a little mental breakdown? You know, you're playing you're at the highest level at Fairbanks, and then you go to Northeast where the struggles were apparent. How do you mentally stay focused when you kind of know, and as a player, and I've been there, you never wave the white flag, but you know going in that you've got to play on your A game. Your teammates have to play on the A game because you're going up against more talented teams. How did you mentally keep it together all year to still, you know, be a big, valuable asset in Northeast, and now you're a part of the Tomahawks?
I just tried to kind of focus on my own game and not let, like, the team problems get in my head and the loose structure of the team be apparent to us. But, I mean, I just focus on myself mostly to get through that, and
sure.
It ended up working out. So
now I know you haven't had a lot of time to get used to Coach. You know, Coach and I have talked every Tuesday, but what have you seen so far? I mean, what a great debut. You 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points in 3 games, so you fit in, you got some points. But, you know, what has been the biggest adjustment, and what have so far in the short amount of time you've been with Coach, what do you like so far about Johnstown?
Just how organized everything is. I mean, how the schedule is already up for the itinerary for the week, and, I mean, just everything's just out there for you. Like, the equipment manager's on top of everything. I mean, can't be better than this.
So now as you look at, you know, coming to a new team as a person, you're coming into a locker room where you know the guys probably from playing against them, but now you're their teammate. Walking into the locker room, you know, what do you need to do as a person when you walk in? What are the feelings walking into a new team saying, oh, these are my new brothers that I get to play with every day? You know, take us through that. Let the fans know how that feels coming from another team, and then, you know, kind of switching sides, walking through the doors and saying, hey, I'm here.
I mean, yeah, getting to meet a whole new 23 guys or 22 guys, you're definitely nervous at first, but, I mean, you're really anxious, too. I mean, it's 22 guys you've never met, but you just got to start, I mean, one by one meeting them and, I mean, kind of getting to know them.
Well, I know the Tomahawk fans will get to know you over time. Now, coming in, and Coach and I have talked about this many times, we believe Johnstown is one of those communities where they love their team. They love their boys that play hockey. And so when you look at it, what was your perception when you heard the news, you're going to be a Tomahawk? Is any of that perception out there around the league of how great the fan base is in Johnstown, or is it just, are we just being the Johnstown faithful that we are, saying, yeah, this is great, the community's great, or is there a perception out there around the league that, hey, when you go to Johnstown, this is a great place to play?
No, I mean, everybody talks about it. Like, I mean, the Hanson brothers and Slapshot being filmed on that ice, the history behind it is just amazing.
So you bring it up, I would imagine, Coach, remember we've had some players that, you know, they haven't seen that movie, but have you seen the movie, Evan?
Yes, I have.
Wonderful. That's good. That was on one of Coach and I had favorite hockey movie list, and that was on the list of favorite hockey movies. So what did your friends and family think of the trade? And then when you broke it to them, like, hey, I'm not playing for Northeast on Thursday, I'm playing for Johnstown. What did your friends and family think?
They were just all in shock, but, I mean, they said good for you. I mean, like, they knew we were struggling Northeast, and they just think this is a way better opportunity as well here. So.
Sure. Well, part of NAHL hockey, it is team, and it's team-oriented. Coach and I talk about it all the time, and that's what you're doing. You're playing for your team. You're playing so that you can also propel yourself and get better as a player. For Evan, what are the long-term goals when you think of hockey? You know, I know right now it's about doing what you can for Johnstown and this year, making, you know, that, Coach, I'm hoping I don't jinx you, but it's a championship run. I really believe it. I keep saying it. I sound like a broken record. But doing that this year, but long-term, you know, what do you want to do with hockey? I mean, what are those long-term goals when it comes to hockey?
Long-term is definitely getting a Division I commitment and then maybe pro in Europe or somewhere one day. But.
Wonderful. So I asked the question to everybody, Evan. Now, I'm an opposing coach. I'm looking at Evan's game, and when I'm watching Evan play, these are the strong points. So I want you to tell me, you know, what is really strong about your game. And then, you know, on the flip side, every player has things that they can improve on. What are some of the things that you need to work on a daily basis to get better as a hockey player?
Definitely finishing my hits and blocking more shots, I think. That's been a weakness for a while now. But I think my intensity and my speed, kind of help my game out. So,
Coach, Evan started off with the weaknesses. I think he's the first guy that we've had on that started with the weaknesses. But, Coach, I know you and I talked a little bit about Evan before the show. You talked about him, about the trade. Guy you've been watching for a while, but when you look at the short time that you've had him on your team, I know that you know his overall game. So what does Evan bring to Johnstown that's going to be so special here during the last part of the season?
Well, I think you hit on the head. You know, he's got great speed, great set of wheels. His north-south speed is real intense. He can get on the puck quickly. He can get on the forecheck quickly. At the same time, he can also back check hard. I mean, because he has that speed to be able to come back into play. He's got a great skill set. He made a few plays this weekend that were pretty high end. You know, just coming with that speed and getting defensemen crossed over and finding space. Good hands around the net. And don't get me wrong, that wasn't easy to do. To come in, take a bus ride with a team, and then all of a sudden you're on a brand new team. You never practiced with the guys, you never knew anybody, and you're playing against your old team in a quick turnaround. But the biggest things we always talk about here is that you can control is how hard you compete and if you play the right way. You know, and his compete level was pretty high this weekend. And I think that his new teammates and obviously our coaching staff appreciated that. You know, if you can come in, you give us everything you got. Other things take care of themselves. Hopefully the right way. And him talking about want to finishing checks and blocking shots, and that's staples that we like to have in our team. And I think as he grows with our group here and gets accustomed to how we want to play and how we practice and our approach to every day and every game, I think that's just going to come along with it because it's contagious amongst the group. And we're looking forward to, like I said, to adding a piece like him to our lineup. It makes us better. Which is what we wanted to do, and like I said, looking forward to continue to see him develop with this group of guys, and where we can evolve not only his game but to help the rest of the team. So it's just something we got to do, and we got to keep trucking forward.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you love to hear that block shot thing, Coach. I know how much you love the block shot. And
it's just something I believe in, something I think that can go a long way. I know it could change momentum, and so I think the fact that Evan wants to do that is going to be huge because it takes sacrificing. It takes a lot of guts to do it, and the fact that that's something he pointed out to his game is impressive because it's something that is needed to win not only games but playoff games and things like that. So it's great news to hear that from a coaching standpoint that he wants to buy into what we do here.
Yeah, and we didn't even script that for you, Coach. I don't talk to the players before they come on the show. That was unscripted. So Evan, already saying the right things on the coaches show. That's awesome. So Evan, I have to ask. I ask every player, you're playing out there, and I'm going to give you 3 options. You got to tell me which one, if you could have your choice, you can only choose one. Would you like to have a bone-jarring check? Would you like to have a one-time shot into the net? Or would you like to score a breakaway 5-hole? Which one would be the most satisfying for you as a hockey player, or is the most satisfying when you're playing?
Probably a one-time in the net.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, why the one-timer? I'm just curious.
I don't know. Just a pretty play. I mean.
Well, I hope you have many one-timers with Johnstown. We're happy to have you. I hope that you keep piling up the points. That'll mean, Coach, that you guys are doing well, scoring a lot of goals, and probably winning a lot of games. With Evan contributing to the guys that are already on this team. So before I let you go, Evan, I did talk to Coach about the Super Bowl. Are you a football fan? Did you catch the Super Bowl this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I did. I'm not a huge football fan, but...
What'd you think of the comeback? Is that the greatest game of all time or just a great comeback?
Oh, for sure. It was crazy.
Nice. Well, Coach, I'm going to let you guys go. Always a pleasure talking to you. Evan, thanks for joining the show, and welcome to the Johnstown Tomahawk. And, Coach, you and I will talk next week.
Sounds great, my friend. Talk to you then.
Okay, have a good day, guys.
Thanks. See ya.
And we are at that part of the show where I get to welcome in Mike Gosnell, Communications Manager of the Johnstown Tomahawks. A pretty, probably ecstatic Mr. Gosnell today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, especially after that fine Super Bowl we had on Sunday.
Yeah, Coach and I talked about it. Evan and I talked about it. And for those that listen in every week, they know from your last conversation that you are a New England Patriot fan. So I got to ask you, though, Mike, up until about 2 minutes left in the third quarter, what were your thoughts? Were you packing it in? Did you think they could come back? Did you think they'd pull off the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history? Or were you a firm believer all the way? And be honest with me. It's okay if you thought they were going to lose. That's okay. But what was your mindset when they were down 28-3?
I thought, this is probably going to be an Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl win, but I had the thought in the back of my mind, let's just wait until the fourth quarter, because that's when Tom Brady does what he does best, and he proved my my thought right, and proved that he is the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, you can't argue that anymore, can you? 5 Super Bowls, 4 MVPs. I mean, the debate is, it's right there. If people want to argue stats, I mean, that's the biggest stat of all. How many championships can you win? So, I said earlier on the show today, whether or not you like or dislike Tom Brady, you have to give the man credit for what he's accomplished in his football career. And he's not done. He's not done, Mike. I think he's got a good 2, 3, 4 years left in him yet. We'll see what he can do. But, turning to hockey, we had a great guest on the show today. We had Evan on the show, and that was a little, I guess, odd sequence of events that occurred last week. We talked about, Evan coming to Johnstown, but he came to Johnstown as a Northeast General, and he did not return with the Northeast Generals. He is now a Johnstown Tomahawk. Right. He seems excited to be here. Good kid. So, what were your initial thoughts? Have you had a chance to spend any time with Evan?
Yeah. I mean, going back to when the trade first happened, I got a text from Coach and saying, "Hey, this could potentially happen," and it was around 9:00 at night, and then it was made official. The paperwork got submitted and approved, and we broke the trade. I believe around 9:30, 10 o'clock that night. The day before, we were supposed to play Northeast on a Thursday night at home. It was the night of the podcast, actually, when we recorded this thing. Or when the podcast was supposed to go live, and then, I get my press release in, and then the next morning in the office, Evan comes in and, introduces himself to everybody, and I got to spend a couple minutes with him. Very down-to-earth kid. Was shocked initially, I'm sure he told you this, about, being moved to the team that you're planning on playing against that night, but, he played very well, scored a goal, had 3 assists in a 3-game weekend against his former teammates. So I think the future is bright with Evan. We got another year with him, hopefully next year. He's a 97 birth year. it's a good trade for us. It gives us some depth, and with playoffs just around the corner, you can never complain about having a player like Evan on your team.
Now when he's putting up 4 points in 3 games, I mean, that's quite a debut, especially in front of the home fans. And I was joking with Coach. I had looked on the schedule, and I had to make sure I was looking at it right. They're actually on the road next weekend, Mike. It's been a while since they went on the road. But, the home stretch is good. A lot of great promotions in there. After they come back from the home stretch, though, there's some more home games. What's coming up here in the near future?
Well, we have a big month of February coming up. February 17th, we're welcoming Penguins legend Pierre LaRouche. He was the first player to score 50 goals and 100 points in the season in NHL history. He'll be there to drop the ceremonial first puck on February 17th. That's a Friday, 7:30 p.m. face-off. That's also a Red Out Night presented by Healthcare First Credit Union and 2D Mechanical. Fans can wear red to support heart health and the American Heart Association. Saturday the 18th is Youth Hockey Weekend. We're welcoming youth hockey programs from Pennsylvania, Maryland, and New York. They're participating in a Pee Wee tournament here at the War Memorial, and local youth hockey organizations will be here as well in a celebration of youth hockey. And then the weekend after that, which would be Friday, February 24th, we're welcoming back to Cambria County from Nashville, Tennessee, Josh Gallagher, a finalist on NBC's The Voice. He'll be making his return to Cambria County. He'll be performing the national anthem, singing some of his songs during intermission, meeting the fans, signing autographs, taking pictures. And then the big night, as if that wasn't big enough, Saturday the 25th of February at 12 p.m., a special 12 p.m. start time, Slapshot Heritage Day with the Hanson brothers. They're returning in celebration of the 40th anniversary of the filming of Slapshot, which you can actually see Slapshot on the NHL Network tomorrow night at 8:30 in celebration of that 40th anniversary. Hanson brothers and many other characters such as Denny Lemieux, Johnny Upton, and many more characters from the movie will be in Johnstown February 25th. That's a Saturday, 12 p.m. face-off. You'll want to get your tickets. They're going to go fast, especially since we're going to have, like I said, the Hansons. It's going to be one big celebration of the movie Slapshot.
How do they get their tickets, Mike?
Well, you have 3 easy ways. I always go over it, but, never gets old explaining it. Ticketmaster.com if you want to order online. If you want to order over the phone, the phone number is 1-800-745-3000. For group tickets, though, you can call our office at 536-GOAL. That's 4625-814 area code. You can get group tickets for 10 or more people. And, of course, if you're in Johnstown, want to stop by, you stop by and purchase your tickets. You can go to the War Memorial box office Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's awesome. And you mentioned Slapshot. I have it already ready to record on DVR. All ready to record. I love that movie. I could watch that movie every day, Mike. I love that movie. It is great. And Evan even knew of that movie. It's very surprising that some of these young kids have actually watched that movie. That's well before their time.
It's surprising to me that some of those young kids were allowed to watch that movie when they were young.
I don't know I don't know if they watched it when they were that young, but maybe they turned around and watched it. But Coach and I go ahead.
For my money, I think it's the best sports movie ever. For what it's worth. So.
Coach and I had on the show it might have been about a month ago. Coach and I did a top hockey movie. We had a little segment, and Coach and I both had Slapshot in our top movie selection for hockey. So I'll tell you what, Mike, these guys are off, and I've said this, and I sound like a broken record, and I don't care. People can say stop saying it, but I really think this is a special team, Mike. They've now added Evan. They took the 6 points against Northeast. Huge weekend, though, coming up against Aston. And if they can get through this weekend and take the 4 points, I think they're going to put themselves in a great position. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, with the schedule the way it's been going here, Aston played today and they're going to play tomorrow. So they did win 5-2 over Wilkes-Barre Scranton today. Just a little wonky schedule there, but we have a chance to gain some ground at their place Saturday. It's a tough place to play. Going to Philadelphia is a tough road trip, but we've been playing well. We've haven't seen Aston since November, so. They're probably a much different team, and we're probably a much different, I would say probably a better team than we were when we played them. We're only 4 points out of a playoff spot. So, I beg your pardon, we already clinched the playoff spot. We're only 4 points out of first place.
Yep.
So it's a huge weekend. But, you know, at the same time, after this weekend, we got 6 more cracks at them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really big weekend. And if you want to watch the game, you have to get a subscription to Hawkey TV. Very affordable. You can go monthly or by year. So to catch all the action, you don't want to miss anything. This is going to be a very explosive series in Aston this weekend, Rebels and Tomahawks. You can catch it on Hawkey TV or follow our social media, Facebook and Twitter. We have updates during the game for you.
Yeah, my Twitter was blowing up on Thursday night. It kept blowing up. Dalton scored, I think then Logan scored, and then somebody else scored, and I'm like, holy cow, are they going to slow down? My Twitter, my timeline was going crazy on my Twitter, but that's good. Good to see. I know you're a busy man, Mike. I always appreciate you coming on the show. You and I will chat next week.
Yep, we'll chat next week. Thank you, Troy. Have a good day.
Well, folks, the music has started. The horn has sounded. That means another episode of Hawkey Central is in the books. Another great show, and my thanks to Coach Letizia for taking time out of his busy schedule to join me today, along with our guest, Evan Somoza, the newest Johnstown Tomahawk, and of course, we cannot forget Mike Johnstown, Communications Manager. What a great show we had, and hopefully next week, folks, as I said earlier on the show, hopefully next week when I come back at you, I am talking with first place coach Mike Letizia. With that said, everyone, enjoy your week. Tune in to the game this weekend and listen to the Tomahawks take on the Rebels.